being clear on what your latest table of contents is and how it relates to your diagram. So we'll talk more about that later, since we have pawns. Yeah, seems to be really complex.
So that works for everybody?
Yeah,
Okay.
Dirty eyes.
My bad.
Never moved.
All right. Sorry about that. This is copy. This is also the standing title for my thesis right now is photo collages, process representation, and building artifacts. And to start it off, well, in my journey, because my journey didn't start off in collage, it started off in photography. And upon researching photography and talking to my thesis chair, Valerie Goodman, she suggested this book um, called David Hockney on Photography. And because I read that book, I became more interested in the collage because he was a painter, and for a period of time, he did photo collages as an experimentation. So I'm kind of working backwards in this journey. So I'll start off with the collage. Yes. All right. History of collage. These two guys, Pablo Picasso and George Rock, were seen as the fathers of collage, or to start using it in a fine arts medium, and also they're the beginning fathers of Cubism. Pablo is credited with first starting off the explorations of collage in his work called Still Life with Chair Canning. And George Rock is next. And the way he used collage was a French word called papier-collé, which basically means glue paper. So basically, when he would paint, he would glue paper on to his paintings to give it a three-dimensional feel, or to mess with the perspective in the painting itself. And collage is about 100 years old, being that both these guys started the whole collage process in May of 1912. And this is the painting and the collage that I referred to as before, Still Life with Chair Canning. The reason this is so important is because, first of all, it's in this oval shape, and also it's hard to see what type of perspective I'm looking at. Are you looking at a chair up under a dinner table, or are you looking at the chair? And then also in the collage itself, the perspectives change. And this is George Rock's Fruit Dish and Glass, where he first started experimenting with gluing pieces of paper onto his paintings and his drawings. All right, for collage, in the early stages, they played with 2 and 3 dimensions on the 2-dimensional medium. And due to these explorations of 2 and 3 dimensions, they introduced a new concept of space. And this also went along with their cubism. One of the main things you see is, I guess one of the main things you see now is when people try to do work in cubist ways, they just try to make all their figures square when that's what it wasn't about. It was about, sorry about these clockworks. It was about a new way of seeing and trying to see the whole figure, what you see in front of you, what's behind the figure, what's the side of it, what's underneath it, trying to give you a whole view of the subject matter. And then the original conceptual material, you take the ideas of collage, they've influenced numerous artists and architects throughout this century, 20th century and the 21st. Definition and ideas of collage. Collage is a work of art consists of the assembly of various fragments of material, not inherent to any of the individual fragments, combined in such a way that the composition has new meaning. And here's another artist, Max Ernst, and basically what we're saying is like the fragments that are put together don't have to have necessarily anything to do with each other, as you see later on some of the other collage images that I've put up. And also, this is a quote from the book. It says, the original identity of a fragment object, along the history it brings with it, the new meaning it gains in association with other objects and elements and meaning acquired as a result of its metamorphosis into a new entity. And again, it's talking about bringing different elements together and composing a whole new composition. And that is Juan Gris, who also was one of the early artists in using collage. And okay, I'm sorry that doesn't pop up well, but in the book I mentioned before in our early discussions of collage, this is the lady Jennifer Shields. This is a map that she provided me with in one of her lectures, and it goes through collage, and it shows what art forms it hit, and also it tells you as you move throughout the map, it tells you what architects it hit. Like somewhere in there is Corbusier, I think, right after Purism. Again, I apologize that you can't read it. There's Richard Meyer and other architects in the red. All right, and now on to my main subject, photo collage. This was done by the artist David Hockney. And also I want to kind of list down a difference. In my studies, the main difference I've seen is that when in photo collage, when put together, it's more so fragments, more so different fragments of photos being put together, as opposed to photo montage. It's more of a smooth transition, and even though it doesn't look like it should be there, it's smooth enough to make it look like, okay, this is the actual photo. And photo montage was one of those art forms greatly used by the datists and the surrealists. Let's see. As we see here, image on the left is a collage by Hannah Hoch, sliced with the Dada kitchen knife through the last room of beer belly, Culture Park, Germany. And on the right is a strong image of the photo montage, because as you see, the clouds kind of just go along with her dress, so that the clouds look like they are actually her dress. All right. For my thesis, I'm studying these two artists, and I'm looking to pull their lessons and what they've said about their techniques, and hopefully to use that what my end goal is making an architectural artifact. And on the left is David Hockney, on the right is Romeo Beard. For Hockney first, for him, he first started off with these photo collages called joiners. And it was an accident on how it all happened. And this is a quote from his book, well, not his book, but from one of his interviews. He said, didn't plan the joiners, they just happened. And said what really threw him off was that a lot of photographers were using wide angle lenses, and he said that's not really how we see. He said it was distorted and just basically plain ugly to him. So he said he thought he'd just rather join the pictures together and see how that worked, and he said he loved it. And he said it gave him a different feeling of space. And space is one of the things I plan to look at up under this slice. And also, just to let you know what he used, his early tool was a Polaroid SX70, and as he began to explore more, he switched to an Nikon FG SLR camera. So it's basically a camera that used film, 35mm film. And on the left is an example of his joiner, and on the right is an example of his photo collage of a rock garden. And in that rock garden specifically, it's in a rectangular shape. So what he would do, he would actually walk the garden and take pictures at different points and different perspectives. And then he would lay all the pictures down, and he would join them together as he saw fit, which was pretty good in his eye, because he said he learned to draw again. He started learning to draw with his hand again. And I think this might be the last slide. I was just showing you how far along I am in preparing this PowerPoint for moving to present.
There's that question.
Oh, yeah. So, for your design process, is it going to be like a translation, or is it going to be more of a transformation, or like how are you going to get from photo collage to architecture?
I was thinking about a translation, but I believe in a translation, I would end up with thinking about the future. I would think I would end up with something that is completely sculptural. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I believe, but what I'm going after is a building architectural artifact, like a building per se. So I think I'm going after a transformation and just pulling from the concepts, because there's more concepts here. Like one is perspective, space. Another one Hockney liked was time, because he said in the regular photograph, it's like a split second. You're dealing with 1/500th of a second. He said that doesn't really, he said that's a sliver of time. Whereas his photo collages, like this one right here, of the gentleman sitting on the left, he said that would take a couple of minutes to photograph, maybe 30 minutes to an hour. Because right here, it's shooting this, say if I were to shoot Jerome like this, it's shooting his face and his pose and everything, I would be right here. But to shoot everything else, I would move behind Jerome and shoot all those. So he said it has a great deal of time in it, because you know that the artwork itself took time. So in that, I think I'm going for more of a transformation, and I'll probably have to just do some more reading and see how people have transformed the ideas of the conceptual ideas of time, space, and some of the lessons that Hockney has, and see how they do it and see what I do.
So it's less about the actual principles of photo collage. I mean, it's more about the principles of photo collage and less about the process of photo collage. that you're trying to bring into architecture?
Yes and no. Because in their principles they still have layering in there. They still have there's a lot of juxtaposition going on. So, but you're right though. It's not more so the big principles of collage. It's more so what these two artists have to offer when they were making their collages, and why they did what they did.
Did you see how other architects used it?
No, that was one of my big things going into it, because first I was studying collage, but I wasn't, to stay true to it, I wasn't really interested in collage at first personally. I wanted to more so go for photo collage because that more so went along with my photography area that I was looking at. And so in studying, I saw architects who had used collage, but not photo collage, like Richard Meyer. There's no direct link between his collages and his buildings, but he did use collage as a means of artful expression. And there's also Le Corbusier. He did the same thing with collage, although he said there's not a direct correlation between his own collages and his buildings. I think there's a building in a Latin country. I forgot the name of it, but there's been some research on that, and they say, well, based on his collages, you can tell where they show up in his building. So he's saying this, he didn't. They're saying he did. So
Maybe it's about your process of using your photo collage instead of other architects using it.
oh, say that one more time.
I said your thesis probably is more about how you're using it and not
Right.
how other people use it.
Mm-hmm. Because that's just one of our things. Like, and there are companies right now. I mean, not companies. I'm sorry, architectural firms right now who are actually using the whole process of collage. And since collage is done more digitally now, it's hard to call it photo collage. It's just more so digital collage, and they're using digital collage as a means of process for making it works.
We need to move to the next one, but for me, I need your diagram. You waded right into the content, and I wasn't sure where it was going, how it was going to put together. So I really want to lobby you to show us the overall diagrammatic architecture and inquiry, how all this hangs on it, and use that as your organizing. Because it really needs to be more, in 10 minutes especially, it needs to be more than just a walk through the field. The faculty is going to be interested in what is the nature of your investigation and how is it structured.
Okay.
They can have a feel for it, but I guess what I'm saying is, if I'm new to this, I shouldn't have to guess.
Gotcha.
Okay. And I think it's important to really work carefully with, closely with Val and crafting these things.
Got it.
Aaron, do you need this thing, or are you just going to talk?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Next week, Christian and Ian. Gotcha.
Okay, well, I've changed my topic a couple times. It's now women's art and architecture, and using women's art to design architecture. This is one of the quotes that I saw. I saw a couple different ones, and then this is kind of like where I came up with my own interpretation of what women's art is. And basically, it's art that exposes the essence of identity of a subject through eliminating all non-essential forms, features, or concepts, and use the simplest and fewest elements to create the maximum effect. And after thinking about this in terms of the art that people produced to that period, and it's kind of like what I wanted to do. A quote that I saw was from Frank Stelli's "What you see is what you see," and this is a quote he said about some of his paintings. This is my statement, what I've been trying to do, and these are the painters, sculptors, and architects that I chose to look at. My diagram, my thesis and my thesis and its PowerPoint goes pretty much directly along with how the diagram is set up. So first I start talking about the minimalist artist, characteristics and concept art. The painters. Frank Stiller, he was one of the painters that I chose to look at, and the reason being was his non-representational style of work. Um, as you can see, thinking about painting as far as like subject matter, and thinking of subject matter, it will automatically have a representation, or automatically have a subject matter or a feeling towards whatever the subject matter is. Thinking about minimalism, you can't have it. So a non-representation painter fit the bill of exactly what I wanted to do. Also, his artwork, which here is the geometric variations. One interesting thing about those are he puts them in a space, mostly a white gallery with white floors and nothing else in it, and he puts them there, and it has this three-dimensional kind of feel. So instead of just looking at a painting as a thing, it transforms the entire space into artwork and not just a painting. Robert Mango, architect. One thing that interested me about his work was architecturally speaking, he took several different parts of paintings. He he took canvases or wood, whatever he was using, and he cut them up and he painted them separately and then attached them at the end. So the thing about him was he was saying that he had simple forms put together in complex ways to make his artwork. And I thought architecturally that was one thing that I think that I wanted to strive for. And also, he was into the whole structure of his paintings, and if you can see it, it looks like a graphite line was running through the painting. He called that the structure. So even thinking about painting and him thinking about structure, that's something I want to transform into architecture. These are some concept sketches that I did for Frank Stella. Some things I was thinking about his work, after looking at his work and reading some stuff about him. These are some of the sketches I came up with and some of the printers. He also did, with his three-dimensional paintings, he also took canvases and manipulated them. So the top ones just kind of play on how he cut canvases, but all of them were, he said, to have industrial shapes. So he didn't do any like organic or round shape. Most of them were regular. Mango the same way. He did a lot of proportion. A lot of times the thinnest line, if you double it, it was the medium line, and then if you triple it, it would be the thickest line. Or if you take the two of the middle sides and put them together, it equals the large. And that's another thing that we did with an architecture. Portion is putting simple materials together to make something complex. These are some of the concept models I came up with. This is kind of like collaboration of the two different styles of Stella with Mango, thinking about taking the three-dimensional shapes and then adding like simple elements of cutouts, and the proportions are the longer one and the shorter one. The longer ones equal to the two short ones, kind of that aspect. On the sculptors, Donald Judd, which probably is my favorite sculptor, and I was looking at him because he actually does simple, like the other ones. He does simple artwork. He puts it in a certain place and kind of transforms the space. One thing that we looked at was Marfa. This place called Marfa, Texas. It was a place that was just nothing but desert, and it was pretty much nothing there. He bought some land there, and he did what he calls concrete boxes in that space. Now people come from all over the world to come just to see it, because of how he manipulated the space. It just did. As you can see in the picture at the bottom right hand corner, that's kind of like inside of one of the boxes that he did. As you can see that that's a lot more interesting, like just a dead space. He also said, being an artist, a minimalist artist, you have to get the art off the wall and into the space. So a lot of times, if you see the left hand, instead of just having a flat surface or a flat object, he brings things out. He also does transformations of galleries with he does his boxes in the middle of galleries and kind of transform the entire gallery to his piece and not just his artwork. And then that's one thing after architecture, he transforms space and creates space with his artwork. And then he also used materials that we use in architecture. Garrett Ryder, his thing was simplicity in construction. He strove to do simplistic forms and to make, and also function. He wanted most of his artwork to be functional, and that's one thing that I feel like architecture is like functional artwork. He used a lot of primary colors, but he only used the primary colors after he joined the steel. That's actually a remake of the chair. The first chair that he did was it was just plywood, and after he got with started doing more research and got with the being a part of the steel movement, he started painting his chair. Also, him, his planes always overlap, and they seem to always go further out or never end. Kind of planes continue to go. That's why it's the black frame. He ends up in painted yellow, which is supposed to be like a force of some kind of force that makes the planes go further than they are in overlap. So that's one thing that we do with architecture. You have planes, which would be a roof or floor, and then you have like structural elements that continue to go. These are some of the sketches that I did. Think about Jalen is the space in between the pieces are just as much as important as the pieces themselves. And the primary colors in the rectangle, the grid and the rectangle. And this is some of the concept models I came up with. The architects I chose was John Paulson. John Paulson, you can see, he's one of the architects today that focuses on the minimalist aspects of things. As you can see, the top one is before, and the bottom picture is after the renovation. As you can see, the bottom has more clean lines. He took out the railing, actually the glass railing. He changed the shape of the floor. Instead of a circle, he made it square. You see the bottom one and looks a lot cleaner than the top one. All of the extra elements are taken out, and just simple things like that can transform the spaces and make it look a lot different. Another thing, one thing he said that I read out here that I thought was important. He said the encounter between the wall and floor is just as architecturally essential as the distribution of space. So a lot of his works, you really can't see where the line of the wall starts and the ceiling starts with the floor. Everything just seems to be one piece. And that's one thing that I think is interesting in his architecture. The next architect that I know, looking at how his artwork, his architecture, how he takes a simplistic approach to architecture, and they say his architecture is almost like haiku. He emphasizes nothingness. I thought that was an interesting way to approach to say that what he was trying to do with the architecture. So let's get back to things. So after that, I come up with this is where I am now. I'm coming up with my extractive forms, characteristics, design principles of each of those, and now I'm doing a matrix of how they kind of like overlap and come up with more concept models. And then it will be a synthesis design aesthetic. I take the forms and characteristics of the art and push them towards architecture and kind of apply them and come up with a kind of like a synthesis aesthetic of both. And then at the end of my application, I take what I learned from the synthesis study and go towards, put it towards architecture. And I want to come up with a millions art gallery. This program spaces that the art gallery. My actual site is in Midtown, Atlanta, and it's across from the Night Museum. And I don't know why, but when I saw the space, it was like, I don't understand how that space across from how you see it just be an open plot of land with nothing there. I don't understand, like, somebody could develop it or something. So I thought it would be a good idea to do that. And this is like video for the maps. And this is a diagram of the surrounding art centers of a Midtown, but all of them focus more on historical artifacts and historical art, and I want to do something different. And for the gallery that I want to propose, I wanted to invite more of the local atmosphere of the artists in Atlanta. We have colleges and a lot of art centers, and people don't get to show their work. So I thought of mine as more of a place where your local artists or your up and coming artists to show their work instead of just more of the historic aspect. Just figure that's it.
Who's got questions? I'll start. Something you and I talked about a while back is making sure that your site and your building have some sort of a storyline connection with minimalist art. Did you think about that at all?
Yeah, I talked to my sheriff about it, and he said what I want to do was with the site, being around other art centers, kind of like how with Millions Art did it. It was like people were doing art with a lot of and architecture with a lot of added ornamentation. Kind of like what was already there. What they did was they took that and did totally like the opposite. Doing the minimalist, a more of a minimalist approach. So thinking about the site with the art museums around it, which kind of represents the art that people are doing, and going forward, right next to it, doing something totally different. It's kind of what the millennials did to art. That's what I wanted to kind of convey in the site.
So you're going to take an architectural stance with respect to the surrounding buildings, similar to the way minimalist painters took to the surrounding painting. I would still be hungry for the next line, which would be in the real world of Atlanta. Why is that a good idea? I want you to keep thinking about that and talking about it with your chair, because I think that's an important connection. For me, and I think it's true for most faculty, it's important that each of you think about the relatedness, the dialogue, the line of reasoning between the building you're doing and where it is and the topic that you researched. For example, you may be putting it in a situation like Ian is, where you're testing it to the maximum degree. That would be a rationale for why you're doing this building where it is. Or it could be that the site and the circumstances call for that approach. Or it could be that for some reason applying your thesis topics here with this building have some defendable storyline about it. What I want to avoid for each of you is, for the faculty to hear your research and then see your building type and site and go, well, why that building? Why there? Why does it have these functions in it? It's got to be more than just taking these principles and applying them to the building. There's got to be a sub-story or overarching story. It's not just, I'm going to study these principles and I'm going to architecturalize it. Okay, well, in what way are you going to do it? Why are you choosing that building. In other words, you got to thicken your storyline for the building type and the site. I think that's important because otherwise there's a slippage there. And you don't want that slippage. So what I'm urging you to do is to keep thinking about that. What you told me last is on the way, that you want to take a similar approach to the surrounding buildings as minimalist art did to as a commentary. So one next thought could be, the neighborhood's already busy, we need a note of calm. You know, that's beginning to build your story. Or you're across the street from the high, you don't want to be doing some bravado things, competing with it, and basically take a deferring response to it. Who else has reactions to the image shows? Something that I noticed about both your presentations, and I know that what we're doing in here isn't going to be what we're doing on the PowerPoint reports. But I want to say this anyway, that when it comes time to do the progress reports, you're not going to have time to give content. You're only going to have time to give what you're investigating, the structure of the investigation, which is your diagram, a few comments on each piece of the diagram that's toned, and that's it. So I think it's okay in here because we have a more extended time frame to get into more content because it gives us more of a chance to talk and ask questions. But the point I'm making now is you can't take your mindset in here and transfer it down there. You're not going to have time for that. So you can't push into your artist, you can't have long passages of text up there. It's just going to gobble up too much time. So think of your thing in a couple of weeks as just a snapshot. You're not going to really be pushing into the content per se. You're going to be showing us basically the structure of your investigation. That's really what the PowerPoint progress reports for. Wednesday, Arlene's coming in. Friday, Ian is coming in. So we've got, I think, our last two chairs.
Who's coming in first?
Second,
Who's coming in? Oh, okay.
Ian is coming in. Hans is coming in Friday. Arlene's coming in Wednesday. And then a week from Wednesday is when your displays go up. So I urge you, if you haven't been doing it, to work closely with your chair and casing both the display in the atrium and crafting your PowerPoint. And be smart not to just kind of spin out and do that on your own. I think it's really important to work closely with your chair to make sure that your chair has a shaping influence. It's not good PR to surprise your chair. So please do that. Okay, so see you guys on Wednesday.